This version of Zangief is by far one of the dumbest fighting game characters I have ever seen. I honestly think Zangief's game design is such a travesty. I think he's honestly one of the worst designed characters in any fighting game I have ever played. He's just a walking casino. It's so stupid. It's just designed for everybody to hate their life. He's not good, so Zangief players complain all the time, but he's also the dumbest thing once he ever gets one SPD. He's just terrible design.
Alright, if you're a ROG main, you hate Zangief. It's just kind of how it is. It's a terrible matchup for Balrog, the worst in the world. Absolutely unwinnable, unless you listen to my advice here and take some notes on how to beat and deal with Zangief V-Trigger 1. So this V-Trigger allows Zangief to confirm his buttons into a suction move, pull you in for additional combos, and makes this mix-up between SPD and buttons really dangerous, but it can also be used to just randomly get plus frames for Zangief and set up mixes and traps that can lead to your death quickly. However, there are a lot of gaps and a lot of ways to exploit the fake resets and options Zangief has, and I'm just going to share a few of the counterplays that maybe some people don't currently know. So one of the most basic things to know about Zangief's V-Trigger is that the activation is not always safe. So if the Zangief ever does, at this range, this short activation, that's actually -6, I believe. It's at least -6. Yes, so -6 here, and this is a free punish. And it's also a true block string, so one useful thing is the moment you start blocking, you can just start mashing because of the 3-frame buffer in this game. Makes it really easy to time punishes. So if the Zangief player ever does a little mini activation like this and you block it, and you're in range so that it's not hitting late, it's always going to be -6 and punishable. So you need to train yourself so that when you see yourself in block stun from this move, you need to start mashing. Because if a Zangief does a random activation like that, the only way they can make it safe is if they do the extended version, which is still negative for Zangief, but you're left, you can't really punish it. It shows it as -3, but there's nothing I can do from this range to punish him. So they have to waste more of their V meter to make it safe, or the V timer rather. So you can just mash because it's a block string the entire time. So if they ever do the other version, for instance, if I leave both of these on, you kind of OS the punish, right? So I don't get the punish because he does the safe activation, no biggie. But say he does it this way, oh, bad spacing. Free punish, right? You just have to mash and not think about it if you're at the right range. And I'll get into the ranges more in a little bit. So pay attention to that. When you're up close and they activate, they have to burn it to make it safe. And so don't let Zangief get away with those unsafe activations. And it doesn't have to be the first time they activate. It can be later on also, so he's already in the V-Trigger. If he does that little mini suck, he's also -6, so you should get a free punish. Zangief will try to slip that by you and hope that you don't react, because it happens very quick. So you just got to stay on your toes for that. So the other thing to consider here is if they just do a raw activation, that's a free jump. So you might not always react to the flash, but if they're not canceling it from a normal or anything, you pretty much always get a free jump once you see the flash at this kind of a range. One thing to consider is they can extend the V-Trigger activation. So if they hold the V-Trigger, if you try to do a deep jump, you might get hit out of the jump in. So what I would advise is to not go for a deep jump and just confirm into your medium buttons. Like I landed the crouching fierce there, but that's not always going to be consistent. You might have to press the jump in early in such a way to beat that, so that you will be too high up to combo your crouching fierce. So what does this mean? So let's combine the two things I just talked about to combat this new scenario that I have been seeing Zangiefs do online. So like I said, if they just activate, especially from a fierce as well, the one-time activation, that is a free punish. However, notice what's going on here. Look at the spacing I'm at. You see how at first I'm not being pulled in by the V-Trigger, then a few frames later I'm being pulled in. And if you look at the frame advantage, I'm actually -2. So how is it that way? So if I'm this range, free punish, right? If I'm this range, I'm actually negative, and Zangief can mix me up with an SPD or a button. So what is Zangief doing here? If you don't know, during the suck, and this took me a long time to realize it, probably longer than it should have, but during the suck, Zangief can actually adjust his movement a little bit. So I can move backwards, I can influence the direction, or I can move forward. So I'm holding the direction forward, and I'm actually moving towards the opponent while the suck is going on. So that means that if I hold forward, they're gonna get pulled in on a later frame of the activation. So it's essentially hitting meaty. So that means there's actually a gap here. So what if I just hold up? You notice that I just completely avoid the V-Trigger suck because he has to move forward in order to pull me in. If I hold down back, I get pulled in, but during this gap, I can just hold up forward. Now I don't get a punish because of the blocks in from the Fierce Punch, but they can't anti-air me for this either. So this kind of leads into an OS. If you're at questionable spacing, if you're at this range, just hold up forward. If you're too close, if I hold up forward, I'm in block stun the entire time. So you see, I'm not getting hit by anything. I'm blocking the Fierce Punch and I'm holding up forward. It doesn't come out until the whole suck ends. You can actually set up a defensive OS. So if I hold up forward and then just start mashing if I see myself in block stun, I actually cover all these scenarios. So at this range, I'm gonna hold up forward, and then I see myself not jumping, and I just start mashing my medium kick. Where if I'm at this range and I hold up forward, I see myself jump, so I don't have to mash a medium kick anymore. So you're not gonna get caught off guard by that +2 scenario, because sitting at this range is the worst thing you can do because you're instantly gonna get mixed up. You can immediately SPD you if he hits you with that, do a button into a combo confirm, and basically you're gonna die. You're just gonna lose. So it's sort of a defensive OS to beat this type of activation. Covers both the options where the spacing sets up the meaty suck, or if they're too close and you get the guaranteed punish. Another way to consider this is if you have super. This is an OS. If you see them activate from the Fierce Punch, you should and you have super, just do it. Because if you're at the right range, you're gonna super and get through. If you're too close, that's not gonna come out. I actually inputted super during this. So I'm essentially OSing the super. Either way, I get the punish unless he burns the V timer. I messed that one up, but you get the idea. So it's essentially a free super punish unless the Zangief does the close Fierce Punch activation into the extended V-Trigger, which kind of ends his pressure. So that is a really key component to stopping Zangief from overextending and just getting random hits of V-Trigger and killing you. This OS can really help turn the tides. You get your guaranteed punishes and just avoid dying, get your pressure going. And you just, as a Balrog main versus Zangief, you understand the most important thing is to not die. So anytime you see Zangiefs do these fake V-Trigger resets, you need to have counters prepared, because the moment they get in, you're going to lose. And that's about it. That's all the tips I have right now for defending against some of these fake V-Trigger 1 setups. Practice this matchup a lot. Zangief is back this season. You actually have to be concerned about Zangief in Season 4. And best of luck to all the ROG mains out there. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.